Welcome back, everybody, to BVarsity Live. I'm your host, clean-shaven, baby-faced Trevor Horn. We are brought to you by Grapevine MSP and Motor City Buick GMC. It's now time for our Week 9 preview and predictions. And with that, we bring in Josh Bennett. Yay. Oh, that's Teddy. That's Teddy.
Not Bennett.
Hi, Teddy. Josh Bennett, Jon Mettus, and you already saw Teddy. So, we'll get right into it. Josh got 2 more games on me last week. He went 16-2, I went 14-4. But, as we get into this league thing, it's a little bit easier to kind of preview and predict these games because we know the teams. They're both, county teams. So, with that, we're starting to get a better idea of what's exactly going on. We got a few games last week where I think that Centennial-Stockdale game was really kind of a toss-up game, and it played out as such.
Yeah,
with
like
Centennial.
we said, those middle ground games are...
Yeah, East-South, where South has really kind of started to, I don't know, something's changed on that team. We'll get into that a little bit. But, the other games that we've seen blowouts with, Kennedy and Shafter blowing teams out, BHS and Liberty blowing, Ridgey and BCHS. But we'll start to get those games as they all start to meet up here in the final 3 weeks of the regular season, which is fun and exciting. So let's get straight into it because we got a lot to go over in the next half hour. Let's start with the 8-man games. We've got a game tonight, actually. Delano 0-2 in league play. Why? Because they had to play 2 of the top teams in the Central section in Tulare Union and Tulare Western the first 2 weeks, and they were shut out in both of them. Both of those were 50-plus margins of victory. Delano gets a little bit easier of a go tonight against the Monache team, but they're still 5-2. I mean, the EYL has really been a very successful league. When you think about it, Porterville was undefeated before they lost to Tulare Union last week, and now with Monache, 5-win team. I don't really think that I don't see how Delano's going to win this game. They'll be more competitive this week than they had been in the past 2 weeks. I still don't think they get over that win hump. This week I have Monache winning this one 28-21.
Yeah, I mean, Delano will score a couple points, but Monache's is the better team, 38-21.
Monache.
Yeah, what do you guys said?
Say Monache.
Monache.
Okay.
That's the first time I pronounced it right the year I've been here.
How did you used to pronounce it?
Monache.
Monache. It might be
Monache.
You know what?
You know what it is? I really enunciated the A. It's Monache. I used to give a longer A. That's how I did it.
Okay, fair enough.
Not Monhague.
Yeah.
That would have been
Monache.
Monache.
That would have been totally rigged.
Yeah. So let's go into the 8-man games this week. We start off first. That is a Saturday game. Fraser Mountain is at Riverdale Christian in Riverdale, but not like the Netflix original about the Archie comics. This is an actual town in Central California. With that, Fraser Mountain's 1-6, 0-4 in league, while Riverdale is 4-2 and 2-2 in league, which usually means an 8-man ball. Riverdale wins 36-12 is my prediction.
42-6 Riverdale.
Okay.
Riverdale.
Riverdale.
You like Jughead, don't you? When it comes to Archie comics.
I never was diehard Archie, period. Like, I never really got in. It was always around, but I never got into it.
Okay, fair.
Yep.
I loved it. Moving on, the other 8-man game tomorrow night, Desert at Trona. Trona is always a tough team to play. That's a dirt field out there, which is so rad.
That is scrap iron.
It's so rad. But I don't think the Scorpions really have a chance here. I've got Trona winning this one 41-28.
47-23 Tornadoes.
Trona.
Tornadoes.
You know what? If you're named the Tornadoes, you're coming away with
the
the W.
Tornadoes. So there you go. All right, moving on. 11-man ball. It is a non-league game for Cal City. They're at L.A. Brentwood. And ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, if you don't know, Brentwood plays in one of the toughest leagues in middle league, small school Southern Section leagues. Paraclete's in that. They went to the state championship last year in D3. Sarah Canyon's in their league, and we saw Sarah Canyon handle BHS pretty handedly 3 weeks ago. So when you look at strength of schedule and the records thus far, and Mike Griffith is back from Tahoe. He's over here eating beef jerky in front of us, which I find really odd and rural.
Yeah, it's kind of distracting.
It is very much so. But with that said, I've got Brentwood rolling in this one 42-14 over Cal City.
Yeah, I mean, like you said in your preview, Cal City is probably the best team in the High Desert League, but that doesn't compare to the league Brentwood's in. So what do I have? 56-20 Brentwood.
John and Teddy, do you know how Brentwood is famous?
No.
Nope.
That's where O.J. Simpson's mansion is. That's where it was. It was in Brentwood. So when you guys see all those stories about the mansion, his mansion's in Brentwood.
Yeah, it definitely sounded familiar, and definitely rolling with Brentwood in this game.
Bye, John.
So yeah.
See ya, John.
Jeff Chudy calls. John leaves.
Elijah Ortiz, but
Okay.
Same
Well,
thing.
there's a chair. Say go bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, moving on. The tough season for Burroughs continues. A team that went deep in the playoffs last year in the southern section, can't get anything going, and I don't think it's going to start this week against Toronto. The light at the end of the tunnel is the Burroughs' last 2 games are a little bit more of a winning situation for them, but it's not going to happen this week against Toronto. This is a team that was once coached by Paul Gola back in the early 2000s. So I've got Toronto winning this one 35-6.
Yeah, Serrano, 42-13.
Whatever you guys, I'm good with what you guys said for sure.
Okay, we need to send you out to Ridgecrest one day.
For sure.
I've never been there.
Oh well, you got to go before me.
Ah, man, that's like a 4-hour round trip out there.
Don't you think it'd be a little weird if I went before you ever did?
No, I don't care.
Okay, I'll go
Wow.
You like scrap?
first. We know where Trevor stands on the issue.
Yeah.
You like scrap iron thingies.
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's move on. High Desert League action tomorrow night. Rosamond on the road at Bishop. Rosamond, I don't get them.
No,
I don't get this
either.
team
Yeah.
whatsoever. They've put up 40 points twice. They've given up at least 40 points
Yeah.
4 times. That don't make no sense, y'all.
No.
So Bishop has been a little bit more consistent this year. That's why Bishop winning this one 49-32.
Yeah, on paper, Bishop's a better team, so I'll go 34-14.
Well, I mean, but I guess back to that point, Trev, you can have a good offense and not a great defense.
Yes, very much so, and that's exactly what they have. But the thing is that, even when their offense sputters, their defense can't do anything. But when their offense is playing well, their defense still seems to sputter on paper, if you will.
So their defense consistently sputters.
Yes.
Their offense occasionally sputters.
Yes.
I'm going Bishop.
Okay, there you go. We are wildly consistent this week, and we only chose one game differently this week, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think I know which one it is. So.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And we'll get in that in just a second. God, that Jon Mettus chair being gone is weird.
Yeah, it's also weird that's turned around like backwards.
Turn that
Bennett,
around.
Swing that around.
Yeah,
Thanks, Bennett.
swing that.
Appreciate you.
Swing that thing.
Thank you, Bennett.
Thank you for swinging that thing.
You're welcome.
The other High Desert League game this week, since they only have 5 teams, they can only play 2 per week. The other one is Kern Valley at Boron. 2 teams that have had a rough go thus far. This one's different. A little difficult to predict because I don't think either team really has an upper hand over the other. The Bobcats did beat Rosamond last week, 42-34. 2 weeks ago, but they lost to Cal City 54-7.
Yeah.
Kern Valley's only win this week is to a Silver Valley team back on August 24th, a Silver Valley team that does not look that good.
No.
With that being said, that's why I've got Boron win this one, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I've got 22-19.
I'm going to go 30-8 Boron. I think the good side of Boron will come out in this one against a weak Kern Valley team.
Okay.
Those
The
are
good side of the
those are
Borax.
definitely 2 differentiating opinions there. I thought Kern Valley was competitive last week. Correct me if I'm wrong.
They were.
I'm going to go with Kern Valley to get their second W of the year in this game.
Okay. I like it.
Yep.
Going on a limb. I like it. Let's move into the SSL now. Taft on the road at Chavez. Taft, a team, much like Miramonte, which we'll get into in a second, their 2 wins are against High Desert League teams, and they have lost 5 consecutive now. They're 0-3 in league play, where Chavez did get a win in league play. They
Yep.
beat McFarland.
Yeah, beat McFarland to show that win over East, too.
Yep. So that was
looking better and better.
that was a good win, and it does look better and better. So Chavez at home tomorrow night, and this is one of those games where you and I, you like extra points more than I do. I have Chavez winning this one 20-13. You have it
21-14.
because he likes extra points, and I don't.
So did Taft start the season 2-0? Is that right?
Taft did.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So 5 game skid. I'm going to pick him to get back in the win column here. 3-5. I got Taft on the road.
Robert Vaca, we have not gotten to Ridgeview yet. We will get into the SSL
We got
after the SEY. We will get there. I am reading all your guys' comments on Facebook. If you're commenting, I do look periodically, especially on the Friday night show. I look more often than I do on this one, but we will look and respond. But yes, we will get to Ridgeview in just a second. So there you have Chavez winning. What did you pick?
I picked Taft to win on the road.
Okay, I like it. All right, moving on, more SSL action. Wasco at home tomorrow night against Arvin. Arvin kind of took a lump last week, rightfully so.
Expected. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but yeah, expected.
Exactly. So Shafter getting the big win over Arvin, while Wasco, a team that really I think is right there with Kennedy and Shafter, and
and at worst, at least the third best team in the SSL.
I think certainly when they're on their home field, I think that they're definitely dangerous there.
Yeah, and they're playing really well, and they're at home tomorrow night. I think this one's going to be a little bit closer than some would predict. I've got it 28-14 Wasco.
I'm going to go 48-27. I think Wasco will pull away at the end.
Yeah, I think Wasco can win this convincingly by at least 2 scores.
Yep. And then in the final SSL game, here's a Kennedy team that can't look ahead to Shafter. They have to take care of McFarland. McFarland got a squeaker last week, 13-12 over Taft. It's the first SSL win for McFarland in their first year in the league.
They needed it.
They started 4-0. They lost 3 straight. They needed that win last week, and they got it. They come into tomorrow night. Kennedy really does look like a power machine.
Yeah.
Ivan Garza, offensive tackle, getting some looks. Washington State was on campus. A dude that Mason Miller, assistant coach of Washington State, was on campus checking him out. It's good for that campus and that school and that league to get looks like that from the Pac-12. And Kennedy is playing like a very, very, very good football team. And I'll tell you this right now. If I know anything about Mario Milan, he's gotten those guys thinking about today and today only.
Yep.
And then when tomorrow comes, they're thinking about tomorrow and tomorrow only. And that's going to be the biggest factor. And that's why I think they're going to score early and often. And I've got them winning 42-7 over McFarland.
Yeah, I agree with that. They don't have the luxury Shafter has, obviously, with the bye week. So they
had it last week.
Right, so they just got to take care of business here. I like McFarland. I picked him last week to win. I picked him to win numerous times, but not this week.
He picked him.
But
I didn't.
Yeah. But yeah, not this week. Kennedy should roll 56-14.
You can't go against Kennedy here. No way. They also have a legit running back in that Tyreek Walker kid.
Yeah, he's good. Oh, hey, Jon Mettus is back. That was a quick conversation. Did Elijah Ortiz just not want to say anything to you?
Elijah might be a man of few words.
No, well, I end up talking to Elijah every week, so I try not to pester him with too many questions,
Yeah.
Pete Menting just walked in the door. He's excited about the Brewers tomorrow.
Key behind-the-scenes guy, key copy editor for us.
Hey, McFarland or Kennedy?
Kennedy.
There you go.
Kennedy. Ferris Bueller's Day Off reference. You're welcome.
Next.
You were not a movie
No,
guy.
I've seen that movie 9 zillion times. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's move into the SEYL. South is at home against Miramonte. Sorry.
Yeah, for some reason our
printed both sides.
Double-sided,
Yeah, printed both sides. So here we have it. South is at home against Miramonte. South lost to East last week, which is a game that I didn't pick. You picked it.
This
is a team that's really...
John picked it.
No,
John was the
Mettus
one
picked it.
person who picked it. I saw John's head perk up when Trevor pointed at Josh. Yeah, Mettus was all over.
But here's the thing: is that that's a great win. Richard Lauren. I'm going to talk about him in my Friday prediction or Friday preview about how he was dealing with some personal things, and they had to kind of intervene on campus to get him going, and it's really worked like gangbusters, and it showed last week. And so East gets the victory. South of the team that I really look at, it's kind of reeling. They lost to West. Right, they lost to West 27-26, and then they only beat a winless Foothill team 28-14. That's the best look for Foothill all season long, which is a bad look for South. And then they lose last week 21-17 to the Blades. So I look at this team, and Kerry Mills is such a great coach. He's got to get these guys fired up this week. And going against Miramonte team that after, like we talked about with Taft, won 2 games against High Desert League teams. They've gotten blown out the first 2 weeks in league.
Yep.
I think that sets up a big night for South tomorrow night. I've got the Rebels winning 42-14. And go ahead and jump into my head, Josh.
42-13 South.
He doesn't like the extra points now.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, South should win this game. It's a best opportunity for a rebound game for them, considering the past few weeks. But, it wouldn't surprise me if there was another ugly, 28-14 game, something like that. Just with the way South's playing.
Let's go South.
I mean, everything Trevor said at the outset, you got to pick South in this game. They're going to win. The question is, how's their offense going to look? Only 17 points last week. You mentioned the Foothill game. So that's really the key litmus. And I think they win. How do they look winning?
Exactly.
I think this game will really show what South is now.
Yep. Very much so. Moving on, Highland is at Foothill. Let's just show you the numbers. Highland beat Miramonte 60-0 last week, while Foothill lost 52-0 to North.
Yeah.
I think that kind of tells you everything that you need to know with this one. The Scots are rolling. It's been a tough year for Foothill. I've got Highland winning this one 40-6.
56-6 Scots.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Most intriguing game this week in the SCYL. North is at East. Who would have thought East in the first year in this league after moving over from the SYL is 2-0 and going up against 2-0 North, a team that was 0-3, and now they've all of a sudden won 4 straight and looking like the best team in that league. Yeah. Because guess what? Their playmakers are playing like they should. Everybody's healthy. Nobody's getting into trouble anymore. And here you have a North team that is just absolutely trucking dudes now.
Another stumble out of the gate, but they've regained their footing. There they come.
Exactly, and I think the East has been a really good story the last couple of weeks. However, I think that North is just such a dominating football team at that level in Division 4, especially in this league, that it's really ripe for the Stars to kind of maybe run the table in league. And if they're going to do that, they have to win this game, and I think they win it pretty convincingly. I've got it North 35-20.
Yeah, I think North's the better team here. I mean...
Go ahead and get in my head again.
34-21 North, by the way. But like I pick against them. But it's weird though because this game basically guarantees at least a share of the league title for either one of these teams with the way the games have been playing. East, it could be outright. They've already beaten South, so it'll be very interesting. But I think North should win here.
Yeah, really, when you think about it, North's only other competition on the field is going to be South in the regular season.
Yeah.
Because next week they've got
Miramonte.
So, I mean, if North can win this one, they're going to set themselves up for at least a share.
Yep.
I got to go with North here. I can't pick East again.
I think North clearly has more talent than East. East playing, though, they got some pieces, too. They're playing really good football. I think being on their home field will make a big difference in this game. I have North winning in a 3-point game. I think it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be an emotional game. I got North winning by a hair.
Nice. I like it. Let's move the SSL. Tehachapi is 1-6 this season, and they are...
Those records aren't pretty right there.
Those are not pretty records, but when you think about Tehachapi, the last time that the Warriors were on pace to have a season like this was in 1961 when Tehachapi went 2-6-2. And thank you to Tom Shea, who used to run, I hope still runs, thswarriors.com, with all the historical references of that football program. This is a team that's historically great, and they're just having a tough run this year. They're on the road at Golden Valley, who's a team that's got less than 20 players on the team. This is 2 teams downtrodden that need a win, especially when you look at Tehachapi. The only win is over Taft this year, who is just on a complete spiral downward. With that being said, I think the Warriors come down, win in a close one, 27-6.
With that being said, I think this is Golden Valley's best shot at a
There
win
you go.
this year. So
the one game that we differ on
Let's go.
is such a unique game to look at.
It
too.
is. I mean, it's in Golden Valley. I mean, if it's up the mountain, probably not, but like that matters this year. But it's in Golden Valley. All the cards have lined in their favor. I mean, Coach Bacher is trying to get this team unified, just get something going there and, at least play with some heart. And I think they can pull one out here, 14-13.
I'm going to go with Tehachapi, but it would be great to see Golden Valley.
That's a good argument.
No, honestly,
Yeah,
he made a really good case.
I don't agree with it, but it's a good argument.
That's fine.
Well, honestly, I feel like every week I say I hate seeing a team going winless in the football season. I'm going with Bennett. He convinced me. I want Golden Valley to win. I'm picking Golden Valley to win.
Okay.
Oh, Teddy, you can't have favorites. Come on.
Football's a type of game. There's nothing worse than a winless here. I mean, you go out there,
Especially in high school.
Put your body on the line, get a W. They got it.
Fair enough. Moving on. Independence is at West. The Falcons 5-2 this year, 2-0 in league play. West they've taken some lumps the first 2 weeks in league play, but this is a team that's totally injury riddled.
Yeah, they are.
Well, that and they've played Ridgeview and BCHS.
Yeah, but but the injuries don't help. It hurts a lot when you lose 48-16 to BCHS after having a halftime lead, and then Ridgeview just blows you out in a 48-0 victory last week. But they're just injuries across the board for West, and with that dwindling boundary area for West getting smaller and smaller every year, it's tougher for them to field a bunch of teams because when you have injuries, it's tough to overcome.
Headlined by that running back who was a great player.
Yeah, LJ Lalau. It's tough to see him out this year, but hopefully he'll be back for senior year next year. With that being said, I think Independence is doing some great things here. I think Sergio Borelli is a great quarterback. They've obviously got playmakers, and their offensive line is playing bigger than their size. Mm-hmm. So I've got Independence winning this one 34-20.
Yeah, I'll take the Falcons 38-13. They're in the driver's seat for one of their 2 showdowns coming up. So,
which means that they still have to go through BCHS and Ridgeview in the final 2 weeks,
exactly.
Which is not going to be easy for them. But if they're able to get through at least 1-1 in those 2, that shows me something for the Falcons.
Absolutely.
In one of the several games we all agree on, I've got Independence as well.
Okay.
Yeah, everything Trev said. West injury bug too much. Independence good year. I'm going with Indy.
Okay. And the final SYL game, Robert Vaca, here you are. You're waiting to hear about this one. This is the big one. I will be out there tomorrow night. Number 10, Ridgeview at number 13, BCHS. The Eagles, after just annihilating the SSL competition over the last 3 years under Darren Carr, now gets their first big shot to see how good they are in this league. Both teams 2-0, both teams rolling right now. Both have forgotten about the big non-league losses they have, with Ridgeview losing to Liberty and Bakersfield in non-league play. BCHS obviously had that national television loss to Oaks Christian. But both teams playing well. I think both teams have finally solidified a quarterback position, with Justin Hinzo taking the reins at Ridgeview, Jacob Moran taking the reins at BCHS. I think there's a lot of similarities with this team. With these 2 teams, I think it's going to be fun, very competitive game. I also do think that the offenses are going to come out and have some fun in this one. I've got Ridgeview winning this one 42-35, but I'm not 100% confident in that pick. I have to pick one. I can't pick a tie. So I've got Ridgeview winning this one. Am I 100% confident with that pick? No, but my gut tells me that the Wolfpack just have a little bit more in the tank.
Looking at these 2 teams' resumes, Ridgeview has looked pretty much unstoppable, except their 2 losses. Liberty, BHS, some would say probably the class of high school football in town right now. BCHS, obviously the losses against the out-of-school teams, but then you look at how they played against, West. It took them 4 quarters to finally get going. Playing against Garces, it took them a while to get going there, whereas you would think Ridgeview against those teams would have no trouble against either one of those teams, I would think. So I think Ridgeview's the better team here. They'll hand Bakersfield Christian their first league loss, and who knows when, and I'll take the Wolfpack 45-30.
Well, Josh is picking better than me this year, so obviously his opinion matters more than mine.
Yeah. I'm surprised, more of us didn't pick BCHS in this one, but I've got Ridgeview too, just because of as Bennett mentioned, the West game with BCHS. They were down in the first half, and Ridgeview last week scored how many touchdowns in the first quarter?
Yeah, and I think the one big caveat here is I think Ridgeview's defense is a little bit more opportunistic than BCHS's, and I think that may turn into a couple scores, much like it did for the Wolfpack last week against West.
But both these teams have talent. Bakersfield Christian certainly does. Don't want to sell them short. I think Ridgeview has a few more playmakers, though, than the Eagles do. I like Ridgeview anywhere from 7 to 10 points in this game.
I'm excited to watch this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Should be a good game, yeah.
Yep,
for sure.
Let's move into the SWYL, the last 3 games that we have. First one up, Garces at home against Centennial. Both teams ranked in our top 25. Centennial got that big come-from-behind victory, winning on the last-second touchdown by Kyle Conley to secure the 41-38 victory. DJ Adams is second in the state in yards per reception this year, and finally he became the focal point of that offense last week. 7 catches, 223 yards, 4 touchdowns for the Golden Hawks.
Needed every one of them.
Needed every single one of them.
Really, though.
But the dude is averaging 33 yards per catch this year. Only had 9 going in the first 6 games of the season. and then had 7, and it just kind of showed you put the ball in his hands, great things can happen. Garces, on the other hand, a team, Joseph Campbell had a career high 302 yards passing last week against BHS without Cam Williams in the secondary. And I'll tell you this right now, BHS's secondary is better than Centennial's. And so with that being said, I think Joseph Campbell is going to have another successful night throwing the ball. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is that if Centennial can't stop Garces' offense, and you see Nick Tobias running the ball better, Isaiah Bill looks fully healthy, that's what I think is going to be the biggest difference, is Joseph Campbell's arm against the secondary of Centennial. I've got Garces winning in the close one, 35-31.
That's honestly my thoughts exactly. You're welcome, Trevor. Stockdale, they love to run the ball, not really a passing team. Garces loves to throw the ball. Looking back at Centennial's loss against St. Joe's, I believe, right? They love to pass the ball, and they threw all over him.
Yep.
Garces also has a much better defense than someone like Stockdale, as they've shown this year. But Frontier Game's a prime example. 7 points, that's really good. So I gotta favor Garces this one, despite the records, 30-20.
Okay, John?
Yep. Garces, I think they played St. Joe's better than Centennial did. I think those tough games that they played in non-league where they took...
Garces should have beat that game again.
Yeah.
Much like Stockdale maybe should have beat Centennial last week.
Yeah.
Garces should have beat St. Joe. It was just St. Joe scored a late touchdown. Centennial won on a late touchdown.
And I was impressed with Garces at times against BHS last week, so I think, Garces has this one.
I feel like actually Centennial has more talent than Garces, but I think Centennial has been a more inconsistent team than Garces, and because of that, I'm going with Garces.
Okay, there you go. As it's said, as it's done. So here is Bakersfield at home after that 50-26 win over Garces last week. At home against Frontier. Frontier, much like West, Chris Bandy, their head coach, said we look like a MASH unit.
Yeah.
Because they're really that beat up. For those kids that don't know, MASH was a TV show back in the 70s and 80s that was based on a medical unit in Vietnam. MASH obviously meant, a lot of dudes banged up and just looked bloody, and that's what Frontier kind of looks like right now.
Thank you. I needed that explanation.
Did you really?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what MASH was?
I mean, I understood kind of what the reference was going toward, but...
Okay,
yeah.
I'm done. I can't.
We'll talk about this offline.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. I don't know many movies reference.
Well, yeah, I know, and I know what MASH is, but I never really followed it very closely. This is getting way off topic, Trevor.
It is. Okay, so BHS at home, 50-26 win over Garces. Frontier lost 38-0 to Liberty last week. BHS has Cameron Williams back. He's cleared to play. Big difference maker for the Drillers, and I think that's it. That's the biggest difference right there. Is that
much.
BHS, I have them winning 56-14. I like Chris Bandy. I think Frontier's a good football team. I just think they're too banged up to be competitive in the league this year, sadly, where BHS is a team that is trying to rally and win another D1 title.
Yep.
There you have it, 56-14 BHS.
49-7 Drillers.
Yeah, I think this is another game where BHS's first team defense probably doesn't give up a touchdown or a field goal, so...
Yeah, I mean, Trevor has him scoring 56. Josh has him scoring 49. I want to just see him cut it loose. Want to see him play a clean game and just dominate. I got the Drillers.
Not turn the ball
Yeah,
over.
just
that's the
play a clean
deal,
game, cut it loose,
And that's what they did against Stockdale. And when you see it, it's 40-0 at the half. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of Stockdale, they're at home tomorrow night against number 3 Liberty. Stockdale, a team that put up a bunch of points. Evan Burkhardt, great playmaker for Stockdale, and showed it last week in that loss against Centennial. Had over 300 total yards of offense. However, he was totally balled up against the BHS defense. Liberty's defense, as good, if not better, than BHS's defense.
Especially the front seven.
Yeah, the front seven. I mean, it's gonna be hard to get past that front seven for Liberty, for Stockdale. Where on the other side of the ball, Liberty had 3 touchdowns called back either by holding penalties at the line, which were phantom or not, or stalled drives because of false starts and dropped balls for touchdowns, and they still won 38-0 over Frontier. I think Stockdale is a better team than Frontier this year. However, I don't think Stockdale is good enough to hang with Liberty this week. I've got the Patriots winning 49-14, and both Liberty and BHS look like they're on a great collision course to both be 4-0 in 2 weeks in that regular season finale.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously going to happen with the winner hopefully getting a home game in the semis. But till then, I got Liberty 55-7. I mean, like we said earlier, Stockdale loves to run the ball. Liberty's probably has the best front seven in the at least in the city, maybe even in the whole division outside of Central and Buchanan.
Yep.
But so obviously that's not going to fare well for them. Liberty just has to use this game to try to knock
It's a really good high school football team.
Yeah.
With a lot of really good high school football players.
Yeah, and they just got to use this game to try to not commit penalties.
Yep.
Learn how to play clean.
Liberty.
Thank you, Steve Lynch. MASH stands for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. Thank you, Steve, for watching.
We'll be sure to translate that into predictions because Trevor definitely mentioned it in the predictions.
Liberty.
Yeah, I like Liberty to lay the
Okay.
hammer.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate it. Diana, Teddy's got to go to his budget meeting. I'm going to say goodbye to Josh Bennett and Jon Mettus. Thank you guys
I'm picking
so much.
Arvin over Wasco, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Wow. Okay. With
I
that,
just missed that one.
on Sunday in the Californian, we have a two-part feature on Tyler Schilhabel, the first-year head coach for Independence. He is likely the only high school football coach in America who is in a wheelchair. He's got a great story to tell. It'll be in Sunday's edition of the Californian. Here's a video preview of that story coming in Sunday's preview. And with that, I'm Trevor Horn. Bye-bye. From a high school football coach takes on a whole new meaning when it comes from Tyler Schilhabel. The Independence graduate, who is in his first year as the Falcons head coach, just 24 years old, is also believed to be the only head coach in America in a wheelchair. 8 years ago on a Sunday over Labor Day weekend, Schilhabel, his brother Drew, and friends were riding on ATVs in the dunes by Pismo Beach when Schilhabel went over a cliff, flying 35 to 45 feet below. The impact of his chest hitting the handlebars of his quad instantaneously paralyzed Schilhabel from the chest down. His life of playing football was over, but football in his life was far from over. Schilhabel took the friendship of coaches like Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan football coach who befriended Schilhabel at the Stanford Medical Center the week of his accident when Harbaugh was still the head coach at Stanford, and the guidance of Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham to heart, as Schilhabel soon realized his love of coaching the game he enjoyed playing so much. But through the tragedy, Schilhabel leaned on his faith, his family, and the love of football to get him to a place he is now as a successful first-year coach that wants to be known as a coach, a teacher, and a husband, and someday a father, rather than just a coach in a wheelchair.